Wasn't it coming? Now we're on, right? I'm on you? Yeah? I'm not on this one. I'm on that one, right? Okay. And you hear me? Everyone hears me, right? Okay, Dave, you hear me? Okay. You don't even have to say yes. All you have to do is press, you give me one of these and then I know you hear me. Okay, great. Okay, everybody say, big day. Bez Hashem. A lot to deal with today, everybody say. It's not a simple sugya, this. It's not such a simple sugya. Now let's try and get to the... So first of all, I'm going to throw an interesting svar over here because I was told, I have a lot of interesting svars today. When you hear my Bergman, you hear interesting svars. I was told that there really are a lot of people that leave food in the oven on Friday nights. And I was told like mamish, like this is the thing, especially in the summer. I was told in the summer is like for sure, because you don't want to eat a hot plate. And a lot of people in the summer don't have soup. So mamish, this is what you do. You just leave on, what? I didn't say Jewish people. Don't mention it. Apparently, there's a lot of people over there. No, over there. What do they have over there? Rabbi Shlomo in Muncie, the people that have soup every Friday night in the summer because it's cold in Muncie. Muncie's more like upstate, so he's not such a raya. But Dave over there in Passaic in the south, where you are, it's probably not everybody has soup on a Friday night. No, I don't think so. Akaponim. So what do? They turn on the oven. They leave the food in the oven, and then the oven goes off in an hour or whatever, into hour and a half, whatever, when it's time for the meal. Right? And the Maisa, the food is fully cooked. Generally the food is fully cooked. Because it's before Shabbos, you're just keeping it hot in there and whatever. And all these things like warming drawers and whatever thing we'll have to talk about in Mitzvah Shabbat. But they're doing not that. They're just taking the chicken, the potato kugel, and they leave it inside the oven. On a Friday night, by show of hands, did anybody here see such a minhag? It's a lot of people. Not both hands. It could be bad for everyone. But it's you also saw such a minhag also. You also saw such a minhag. What are you saying, Sam? You also Sam? Okay. All right. Rabbi Glacius, you seen such a minhag? You didn't see such a minhag. Okay, so there are people that don't have this minhag. Right? Rabbi Drazen, what's going on in we're from Idaho or wherever? What? People do it? Yeah. So I can find it means that we have to explain it. Now again, I don't have to work so hard. I don't have to work so hard because Nachaltz, the Ashkenazim, the Ramah Paskins, the Nagu, what's the lashon of our Rabbi? The Ramah says you have to turn a couple of pages over here in this Ramah. It's a very long Ramah. But the Ramah says, V'nagu, where is she? V'nagu lahakal kesvara ha'achreina. I'm going to talk about that Nagu b'lineda today. All right? But upon him, it's already, there's a minhag already like this. So whatever you're going to tell me, if you tell me that there are Jews that do this, I'm going to tell you, Seder, what do you want? Even if the food would be Michael Ben Drusai, it would be 50% cooked, probably even 30% cooked. Michael Ben Drusai's machlekes, right? But if it's going to be 50% cooked, which is for sure 50% cooked, nobody's putting, I think I'm right? Nobody's putting the chicken in when it's not 50% cooked. They put it in, it's basically 90% to 100% cooked anyways, and they're just leaving it in there hot. So if you're going to ask me, do I have to care? Do I have to worry about this? I'm going to tell you, v'nagul lahakol. This is the biggest value, v'nagul lahakol. So I don't have to work so hard because they're not doing chazara into the oven. That chas v'shalom. Can't do chazara into the oven, but nobody's doing chazara into the oven anyways. Anyways, you have issues with opening up the oven door. So anyways, nobody's opening the oven usually until the oven's off anyways and whatever. So that's not the issue. No one's doing chazara. Chazara can't be makel. Chazara needs a blech. But if they're being makel on what? They're being makel on Chananya, such bad people. They're doing like all their Zaydis, Renayag all of the year. So I don't really have to feel the necessity to explain. What? Does it have to what? I'm not getting involved. That's an under shmooze, that if you're going to open up the oven door, it could be you're turning on. Maybe we'll talk about that. I haven't given up on you guys yet. It's Hashem, we're going to talk about that too. But I'm just saying, you should know, my contract is not mechayiv me to say what I'm about to say. You should just realize that, okay? Because the Maisa, Nachaltz, it's good. It's the minhag is lahakal. You see from over here, the minhag is lahakal. But we're going to see there's a bir halacha, and I'll tell you right now the secret. The bir halacha on these words of v'nagul lahakal. The Biur Halacha says, and Mitzvah Shem, I plan on explaining this Biur Halacha maybe even today. The Biur Halacha, at the end of the Biur Halacha, I'll just cheat a little bit over here. The Biur Halacha says, Al Kain L'Chatchila B'Vadai Toiv Li Zoyer, to make sure that your food is mamish, a bushel called Tzarchai and Masulik Min Ha'esh. The Biur Halacha, after this little Biur Halacha, it's not such a big one. The Biur Halacha says over here, don't be Soy Mechan Chananya. So I don't know. Now already, you tell me, there's a Jew sitting in this room. He's learning Shiur, Bishul for the last 2 months, and with tremendous Mesiras Nefesh and everything. And you tell me, it's going to come down this Friday night, and he wants to do something for the rest of his life that the Biur Halacha says that you're not a lechatchila d'giyid. You're not a lechatchila d'giyid, right? You have no zahiris. You're not a lechatchila d'giyid. You know, it's not. Today my son wanted. He told me he wants to go. He has a hat, and he wants to give it a little shave. He wants to give it a little shave. And it's like 9 centimeters. He wants it to be 8.6. Right? That's what he told me. So what am I? I mean. What am I going to do? You want the kid to be happy with his hat, right? I told him, no, go for it. Then I found out how much it costs. Oh my goodness, I thought, what, to shave it off? Forget it, they should pay you, because then they get the extra piece, right? There's something they can make other hats with it and everything. They can make masks. No, they can make a mask with it, right? No, so I thought, how much is this thing going to cost at all? 300 shekel he wants, this guy. 300 shekel. With 300 shekel, you can feed a whole family. Well, 300 shekel. I told him. So he told me, listen, my son said, you understand? He said, I told him, tell me, it's mamish means so much to you. He said to me, it's not lechatchila. The hat is not lechatchila. It's not lechatchila. I learned from over there that, and it's a Shabbos hat. What are you laughing at? What, you think this is funny, right? I learned from over there, it's a Shabbos hat, right? So I learned from over there to have a hat every Shabbos for the next, I don't know how long these hats last right now, but to have a hat every Shabbos for the next year or whatever, you have to have a lichatchila hat. There's not a lichatchila hat. Right? So I learned from over there. Can you tell me that a Yid, every single Friday night of his life, he's going to put the chicken into the oven, and let's say the chicken, the kogel, the oilam was telling me kogel is the achmamish in the stomach because it gets more gishmak with time, and certainly the chicken is in there. You can start danning. What if I have a food in there, which is mitztamik v'yafa, and I have another food next to it, which is mistamik v'ra. So you can say, I'm not going to stoke the flame because I'm going to mess up a food. Or do you say, it's worth it to me to mess up the food so that I could have a geshmak chicken? Okay, you can clear it. I saw that the Achrayim clear it within one food, but I didn't see anybody, it's mashma that if it's 2 separate foods, there's no such thing. And then it would be a problem, because if it's mistamik v'yafalai and you're chayshish for the shita of the chachamim, so then you have to be chayshish for the shita of the chachamim, right? So all these questions, I see your questions, Rabbi. I'm going to get to those questions, but let's first see the sugya a little bit. So that when it comes to he says to me, I can have a hat that's not lechatchila for every Friday night for the next. He's right. You can't have a hat like that. It's not lechatchila. I can. So it's a kal v'chomer probably, right? If you're worried about the neshama yisera, also you're very worried what's he going to eat for the next. Every Friday night he's going to eat food that was not lechatchila food. It's not going to get the proper tikkunim. It's not going to be lechatchila according to Mishabur. And not only that, so you'll say, okay, no, I'm not a lechatchila yid, but the Mishabur says you better be careful to be a lechatchila yid here. He doesn't always say that. Sometimes he says lechatchila. Over here he says you better be careful. What's his lashon? Moed, right? Bivadai toiv lizoyer. No, not moed. Bivadai. Very important to be zoyer, to be lechatchila, and to not do this. The Biur Halacha is in Dibra Maskal v'nogu lahakol kisvara achroya. Biur Halacha. It's toward the end of this very long sif. It's very long sif. Akapanim. So now I feel guilty. So okay, so you're right that my Zaydis all did this and whatever, and I'm not better than my Zaydis, but you see the Biur Halacha, he felt that it's not the right thing to do. So tell him to put a blech inside an oven, it's not a matziv. Where am I putting a blech in an oven? A regular blech's not a get. To go and blech the entire oven is not practical. So what am I going to do? Elamai, now you're going to go home and you're going to tell your wife, okay, so this Friday night, we're having a hot plate, and that's it. And then she's going to tell you a hot plate. You know how hot it gets. And the whole kitchen is like 10. The whole thing is 5 meters. The kinds of kitchen's going to be so hot in there. And then it's a shalom bayis problem. So I'm going to tell you interesting svara. Elamai, we saw svaras yesterday. We saw different svaras. So I told you I saw one sefer. He says the svara is that an oven, like with Moshe, you're just adding fuel. But Davi said that's not true. By an oven, that's not true. There's a piece of hot red cold metal coils, whatever, I don't know, right? And the friction of the electricity hits it and basically makes it get lebedik. And if that's what's taking place in there, so then there's no heter. That's the biggest Shami in the world. You don't even have a Moshe anymore. You don't even have Elamai, the other svara that we said yesterday, that whatever setting you set it on, so that there's never a chash of Shami Chata. So we said yesterday that's a felony. That's a felony. But in football, you would say foul, and it's 5 yards, right? Because what shaykhs? The Chazal made a gzeira. Chazal said no food on a fire that there's a chash. Whatever that chash is, as long as it's a very normal chash, this is the easiest chash in the world. I was talking to Rabbi Yitzchak a few minutes ago, and he showed me some Gavaldik Arayas that even the kash on Ramosha, you have to see. We'll have to talk about this the first Bialacha, we're going to see in a moment. But that it sounds like doing chayichipa is not the easiest thing in the world. It seems you have to move the pot and whatever. So shtekol taina on Ramosha, we'll have to see about that. But so even if that's not true, but this is definitely I'm not true. I'm saying I think it is right, but I'm saying even if you say not like that, right? But this is definitely the easiest thing in the world to just go like that with the dial. This is the easiest thing in the world. So fire, food, chash, right? So besides that's included in the gzeira, like we proved yesterday from the Bir Halacha, and like we proved yesterday from that's bar. Tell them so now there's no choice. We have to come up with a new svara. No, Rabbi Shwab, you know the svara? If you know the svara, say it. Does anybody here want to say any of the No, anybody want to say svara? So I tell you svara. I tell you svara. I don't know. Everybody say I have a big kasha. Maybe there's no gzeira shemi chata b'chlal on an oven. On an oven, maybe. Why isn't everybody say? And this gets back to Rabbi Samuel. So this is again, this is fresh off the press. The covered meishar. Everybody say, when you open up an oven, and Nussi was asking me before what happens over there. Forget when you open an oven. 1 second. I have my oven is on to 200. Now I looked into it today just to make sure this is the materials of the ovens. I'm talking about electric ovens, obviously. I'm not talking about gas ovens. I got a lot of the gas ovens work with electricity too, so it's a little complicated. But let's talk about a standard electric oven, okay? And you open up, you turn your oven. It's at 200 degrees, and you want to turn it to 500 degrees. So we explain what happens when you take it from 200 to 500. So what happens is that basically it just keeps the fire on. Okay, which means right now it's on 200, the fire's on for 10 minutes. And then it gets to 200, and then the thermostat says, okay, we're okay, now it goes to sleep. And then it wakes up again because it has to do it again to 200, it turns it back on. If it's on 500, there's no more fire in there, it's just that 500 says stay on for 30 minutes, right? Once you stay on for 30 minutes, then it goes off because it's at 500, and it stays at 500 for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and then it goes on again to get back to 500. That's what goes on. Does everybody say, what did I just say? What did I just say? Who can finish my sentence? Maybe there's no shami chata b'chlal when it comes to an oven. Everybody say, what happens? My oven's at 200 degrees. So now I'm going to yechata. So what am I going to do? What am I going to yechata? There's a chash, like I said. Food, fire, chash, that's the gzeira. Okay, but let's see what the gzeira is. The gzeira is you're going to do something, okay? So now, mamanashah, what's the case? My food is in the oven and the fire's on, let's say. Half the time the fire's on, half the time the fire's off. That's what goes on, right? Because half the time the fire's on because it's getting to 200. And half the time the fire's off because it's already at 200, right? Elamai, what are you going to do now? So you're going to go and turn the knob and get it to go to 300, 400, whatever it is. Okay? What happens when you turn the knob and you get it to go to 300, 400? So, if it's on, so all you're doing is you're making it, if the fire is going at this point, you're just making it that the fire department is not going to come and turn it off. Is there an Isser? I don't even know what the Isser is. I'm not going to, don't do it, Rabbi. Right? But it's hard to find what exactly is the Isser. Right? Right now there's a fire blazing and the fire department's about to put it out, and I stop the fire department. Are you not allowed to stop the fire department on Shabbos from putting out a fire? I'm not familiar with such an Isser. Again, please don't do this. Right? But I'm not even familiar. I don't even know what the Isser is. All I'm doing is I'm making the fire department stop. So right now inside the oven, there's a little fire department, right, with a little red kapelach and dust, right? So what am I doing? I'm stopping them from putting out the fire. So what'd you do? You did nothing. By turning it to 500, you absolutely did nothing. So that can't be us. What am I afraid? Elamai, you can tell me, no. I'll tell you what I'm worried about. I'm worried that you're going to go when it's at 200 degrees and turn it to 500 degrees and it's off. And it's off, right? So the fire's off and you're going to turn it from, that's a whole new thing. I'm not familiar anywhere in Shas and Paiskim that there's a gzeira, I'm going to light a fire on Shabbos. What's that? Mazah. It doesn't say anywhere in the entire Shas and Paiskim that there's a gzeira that you might come to make a fire to put my food on. What is that? Mazah. The only thing we saw was that when you have a fire, you're going to monkey with the fire. And we explained yesterday, even a fire that was a good fire and whatever, we have a gzera that you're going to monkey with a fire. Okay, I hear that, right? When there's a fire, you monkey with the fire. Where's there a gzera that I'm going to go and light a fire because I'm not happy with because there is no fire now. It's a pella, right? And not pella. I'm saying it's a Einfeld. It makes sense what I'm saying. Elamai, the fire's on. So you're going to go and what? You're going to stop the fire department from putting out the fire. No such there. So beside, maybe there's no sham yachata by an oven. Pretty scary. No sham yankiv. Right? You're scared. Yeah, you're scared. Yeah, I don't know. So maybe this is the limit chos. Maybe that's the limit chos. Right. So I tried to find out today how a crockpot works. Yeah. So how does a crockpot work? Now, Elamai, what are you going to say? I know what my little friends and family are saying over here, right? Tell them, Sam. Go, tell them. Oh, you don't want to touch the microphone. So he says, what do you mean? He's going to put down the fire. Anti-Semite. What do you mean he's going to put down the stuff? Where does it say anywhere in the entire shots anything about gezeras and putting down fires? That we never saw anywhere. And I can tell you what, you never find anywhere that it's going to be too hot, he's going to put out fires. I'll tell you why. Because instead of putting out fires, he just takes food off. You know? Or I saw some Rishonim, I saw some Achronim say that the Machshtein Tzricha Legufa, so maybe they weren't Chayshish or whatever. That's why I'm going to go so far as to say, even if you tell me like, when he turns the dial, you might have a one that the lights come on or something like that, the letters come on, whatever. You should know that it's probably anyways just a ksiva sheinish al-kayama. I'm a subject. Maybe there might be a shot of electricity going with maybe through ice. You know that's not such a simple thing. To make a gzera, maybe a zevite, we don't have a gzera, maybe. But you get my point. Right? There's no gzera, Rabbi Blinder, that he's going to go and put down the fire. Not making up your own gzeras. That was never the gzera. Okay? Sorry. Okay. Akapanim. But Lamaisa, Rabbi Walsh, should I tell them how a crockpot works? I have to keep them like involved. You know what I mean? No, should I tell them how a crockpot works? You know how a crockpot works? So crockpot is very interesting. I would have thought that when you turn it up, right? So then there's more friction and more protons and croutons and all this type of stuff. You know what goes on? It's a bell. I don't know if every crockpot is like this, but the crockpot that I have is like this. Because I was only mafire with them, right? That's the one you have also. You know which one? Apparently it turns off. You know this also? Apparently it turns off. It turns off the when you turn on higher, you go from low to high. It turns, I would have thought it just adds like another, there's a little guy in there, it turns on another light bulb. It doesn't work like that. It turns off this circuit and turns on a totally different one. It's not interesting, no? It turns off this circuit and it turns on a whole different one. Now that would be worse, copy what we discussed. Ovens don't work like that, right? Ovens don't work like that. Obviously, these things could change and maybe that's why no one should be signing on what I'm saying, right? And also, very important, we're going to see today, maybe, I don't know today, we're going to see there's a lot of poskim that did not accept any of these svaras, including Ramosha. And that there might just be should I prove to you all that there's some level of light plug over here? Even if you get with all the svaras, I'll prove to you there's a level of a light plug. Should I prove it to you? Because Ramosha Feinstein, our great Rebbe, in Chelik Dalet, in Siman Dalet, I think it was in the 25th Shuv. I didn't plan on talking about this part now, but I think it was in the 25th, of those little short Shuvas. Where was it? I'm sure, where was it? The 25th one? Where was it? What? No, where was it? Oh, there she is. Chaveh. In the 25th Tshuva, they asked Rabbi Moshe, what if I have my fire and it's on to the highest? No, Rabbi Blinder, no. What if the fire's on to the highest? So now, there's no makim at all for Xera. Right? You call me an anti-Semite, right? You see? But over there, what's the only thing you could do if it's on the highest? You could turn it down. So maybe it should be mutter if you have the oven and the stovetop in general, the fire is up to the highest. So now there shouldn't be any Yisr at all on Shabbos. You know who they asked this question to? Rabbi Feinstein. Well, you know what Rabbi Feinstein said 40 years ago in answering this kasha, 43 years ago? You know what he answered? He said, no, like plug. Okay, now how to apply like plug and how not to apply like plug, we'll see, because we know they didn't make a total like plug, right? But there's some level of light plug. I guess if it's a stokable fire, so then if you're in a matziv now of where it's unstokable, so then we're not, okay, yeah, we're going to work this out. This is not the last that we heard of this. I'm just trying to show you have to be calm and a little bit, collected when it comes to applying which svars we can apply. However, my svar that I'm saying now is, I don't mean my svar as a nifladik svar, but the svar I'm saying is taka, it got in over here and it's a little bit better than all these. You might not have a light plug. The whole vart of like plug is I have a fire, which is a stokable fire, and therefore there's food, fire, stokable, chash, kol tuv. You're not allowed to have that matzav on Shabbos. And even if in this matzav you can't stoke it and whatever, like plug, I can hear that, right? But here, it's really no shaykhs. Here, the fire's off. Monashach, if the fire's off, there's no gzera that he's going to light a fire. That for sure we don't have. Elamai, the fire's on. So what are they going to do? The only thing he can do is he can tackle the fire department at the 50-yard line and not let him put out the fire. So who says b'chlal that there's gzera in such a thing? And I don't know. I don't know. But right. So another one. Okay, but then you're just turning on a new fire if you're turning on broil. I'm saying it's the same thing. I obviously, Rabbi say, I'm telling you a svara which I would not be soymech on if the food was raw. It's not negei chazara anyways, because you can't possibly do chazara without a blech. So, we're only trying to figure out if there are foods that you don't need a blech for, okay? That's what we're trying to figure out in a situation of shihiyah. And I'm telling you that maybe, I'm not going to be saying on this far because like Rabbi Feigenbaum is saying, and maybe the whole thing will change, and maybe this, and maybe that. I'm just saying, but if the Metzias was like I'm saying, which Kafi what I know in the year 2020, in the Metzias of the oven of the year 2020, a lot of this can change, and it did change already a half an hour ago, I don't know, right? But Kafi the Metzias of what I'm talking about right now, there is no problem to take even raw food on Friday, but whatever, even a little more than raw, because raw might have had, but raw food on a Friday night, put it inside an oven, and then, let it just cook on its own because there's no shamiach, fear and trepidation, and that no one should be saying what I'm saying. But if you want to know, does he have to feel like, my hat is lichatchila, so my chicken should also be lichatchila? I'm not that you don't have to stop anybody from doing it, and maybe it's even mutter. I don't know, like that, maybe it's even mutter. What do you say? Sounds a little scary, no? What do you say? I don't know. Bothers me a little bit is how come Shaggy is the first guy to chop this. Right? What? I don't ask you personal questions, do I? I don't ask you personal. I'm not like these kind of guys. I'm not into these things like, man, I like a nice hot kitchen or whatever. I don't know. I'm not into these things. I like chicken soup on Friday night. Yeah. Chicken soup Friday night, that's fine. If not, I feel like, that my name is Tyrone and my wife's name is Lakeisha. I can't deal with things like that. It doesn't, it's a nicht bei mir. Ich muss mit essen, chicken soup on Friday night. And if not, then I don't feel, what do you want from me? But I don't ask you what you do. I don't. Okay, what are you guys asking over here? Let me give them attention for a minute. What are you asking over here? What? Well, I don't know what they're asking over here. Okay. Then, what? What should we do? What should we do? That's a good question. That's what you were trying to ask. I'm sorry. What should we do? Thank you, Ms. Lansky. That's a good question. So what should we do? What? Because what does it mean when it's sleeping? What does it mean when it's sleeping? It means there's no fire now. So where in the world is there? Let's say I have food, right? Just think about what you said. This is garf, right? I don't have to be, what's it called? I could be fancy. This is garf. What's garf? Garf means that there's a fire, right? There was fire an hour ago, and I goyrifted all of the coals out of there. I shoveled out all the coals, and I left the food there on this, what's it called? On this, one second. I left the food there on a garf oven or whatever, right? So now, why aren't I afraid that he's going to go and bring coals and put them in there and heat up the food again? And no, see, it's a kal v'chomer ben benoy. Think about you saying it's a kal v'chomer ben benoy to all the kal v'chomers that ever were in the history of the world. Think for a minute. I'm answering your question. Kal v'chomer. In a case of where the coals are going to come on their own in a minute from now, and I still don't suffice with that, right? That they're going to come back. Kal v'chomer when there's no coals. Kal v'chomer if there's food in an oven and there's no coals coming back, right? Elamai, what's the answer? The answer is, it's just Mesiach Das. It's not raya what I'm saying. It's not raya. Because there he did something to be Mesiach Das. He did a Maisa. Over here, maybe he didn't do a Maisa to be Mesiach Das. Okay, so that's why I didn't want to go in the original and call it Garf. Just a moment. I didn't want to call it Garf. I didn't want to call it Garf because Garf means you did a Maisa to show that you're not interested in the cooking process, right? But on the other hand, I still don't have the Gzero. I'm missing an Aleph base, so it's not Garf. But we never found the chash in Chazal. Again, it has to be food, fire, and the chash. What was the chash? That he's going to monkey with the fire. There's no fire. Manashach. There's no chash that he's going to go and put fire because it looks like a cooking process, right? There's no the Xer is going to go in, and I realize it's with the same level of ease. He just turns the knob, but it doesn't matter. That's a whole new thing that he's going to go in and turn on a fire. You have to know what he's doing. Elamai, that he's going to allow the fire to stay on. There can't be a chash because I don't even know what the Isser is to do that. What I say? Wait, but 1 second. Did I answer your question, Rabbi Levin? Do you understand? I'll answer you in a minute, Rabbi Shai. What? If that's something else. We'll talk about that. That's something else. No, that's something else because you're putting the food there. There you're putting the food, right? No, you can't go and do it. You can't go and do it. I'm not doubting if you could do it before Shabbos. Of course you could do it before Shabbos. Wait a minute, everybody could do it before Shabbos. Let's deal with that Shabbos. We'll get to it. That's like a Shabbos clock Shaila. I'm going to get to it. It's a very complicated sugya. But Akapanim, in this case over here, we're trying to figure out, do we have a chash? And that when he has the matzav going, do I have the chash of Chazal? I'm just showing you don't have the chash of Chazal. What do you say? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah? What do you say? Yes, I also thought like you, and that's why I was mavar. He's asking like this. He's asking, what do you mean? If the heating element is hot, I'm oversimplifying because it is red hot, right? And it's still red, so there's still a fire, right? But it don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It's mamish doesn't work like that. I can't fully tell you I understand this, right? But it Pasha goes on and it goes off. Once it's off, what?
It's still hot. It doesn't go gone. It's still hot. It's still a fire here.
The way I'm understanding it is, first of all, the way I'm understanding it is it's never red and it's not, they don't have these musagim anyways, right? Salamite is no. Yeah, toaster oven does, yeah. And if you're going to have a toaster oven Friday night, then it's a raya, the guy's a guy, right? But I don't know. Rabbi Sher is asking that maybe I was bothered by this. It didn't sound like this in my findings. Oh, you know, you guys look into it, but it didn't sound like this. It sounded like when it's off, she's off. Okay? And what does it mean it's off? It means you just have a piece of boiling hot metal, right?
That's the same piece.
No, it sounds like there is some, it doesn't sound like that. I don't know what to tell you. It doesn't sound, look into it. It doesn't sound like that's a mitzvah. It sounds like it's that would be the way to argue over here and say that no, even when the fire's off, so then there's still a red hot metal and there you're monkeying with, what? So that.
They just turn not red, but it's still hot. Let's leave it. Let's leave it. It's not bar, and in many ways not willing to be made with the star. So let's leave it. That's number one. What? Come again? Crackpot is a different akuda because there, a crackpot, the fire you have goes off. Okay? The fire that you have goes off. What? No, because then you're monkeying with a fire. You're what? Yeah, but there it's when I have this fire, I do something and I put out this fire and I do no. There's at least a fire. We go into the plug. It would at least go into the plug. I have nothing to be myself. The svara I mask him. There's what to be palpable with, but I don't have anything to really be myself. And I mask him to the pikpukim that there are pikpukim on the svara. Maybe now you can throw in all these other things. You see, the Mishbrua was masking to throw in the Miskaris HaShulchan once he had Sirufim, right? And that's that which I keep it on the same level the whole entire time. The Mishbrua brought it in as a tziruf. He just didn't bring it in as an ikr tziruf like we saw yesterday. That the shiur to say it was a felony when it was an ikr tziruf. If not an ikr tziruf, there's what to be saimich on him. So I don't know if somebody tells me that is there a makom to be machmir? I have one more, up my sleeve. I have one more thing to share. In the meantime, I would say there's a slight makom to be machmir. The slight makom to be machmir, and there certainly is a makom to be meidko. That's the answer to Devaila. It could be that it's going to change a little bit as we go along, right? But that's how I would say so far, as I say so far. Right? There's one slight nekuda here that there's a shita brought in, I think it was Rabbeinu Chananel, which is not brought in any of the Rishonim and the Poskim and the Achrayim. We would have said this on our own. We would have said, well, I could differentiate between if it's fully cooked. Right? We would have said, let's say the food is fully cooked and it's mitzamik v'yafalai, but maybe there could be like a third shita. We spoke about Michael ben Drusai, and we spoke about something that's mitzamik v'yafalai, and that's aser, and that's, what if there's something in the middle? Is there no sheet out there that holds that if it's already fully cooked and mitzamik v'yafalai, if it's fully cooked and mitzamik v'yafalai, that's still mutter, because it's fully cooked. He's only going to go and stoke. He's only going to be sehitz if he's not going to have fully cooked food. But once he has fully cooked food, then he for sure is not going to stoke. I would have heard misvar as such a thing. The only thing is that the Rishonim don't differentiate. They either go, Michael ben Yisrael Mutter, or they go, out of Saif, right? So, there is a sheet of the Rabbeinu Chanano, and there's a very difficult sentence over here in the Bir Halacha, where the Bir Halacha seems to say, what should you do when you're machmir lechatchila? So it's a very difficult Bir Halacha. He says, al kain lechatchila, make sure it's fully cooked before Shabbos, and then l'salik it min ha'esh, and then take it off from the fire, right? Now, it's a shayla exactly how to read this Bir Halacha, right? It's a shayla how exactly to read the Bir Halacha. Does the Bir Halacha mean that you should make it fully cooked, and then take it off the fire, and then leave it on the coals? So what do we gain? It's still mitzvah v'yafalai. What the Bir Halacha gain over here? He's telling you what to do. Don't be soymich on Chananya. Don't be soymich on the Ramaz Minik. So what should you do? Therefore, make sure it's fully cooked and take it off the eish. What does he mean? He means make sure it's fully cooked and just serve it like that. That's very schwer. I'm saying, make sure it's fully cooked and just serve it like that, and wrap it in towels or something. Here, first of all, he should have said wrap it in towels. All right, what's his business? And Elamai, he means make sure it's fully cooked and take it off of the fire. Just leave it on the coals when it's fully cooked. That's all. That's this way of saying leave it on the coals when it's fully cooked. That's nobody's shita. Who's that? It's nishteh, right? It's not. If you're telling me don't be makel like Michael on your side, then you can't be makel even when it's mevoshel kol tzarchai. And so you can't be makel, right? So you should have just said, so therefore be machmir. So what's this? So there is a shittas Rabbeinu Chananel. I don't fully believe that that's what the Bir Halacha means over here. And like Yimachtas Nishvisidik, and he never told us, and he like throws it in as a pshara without telling us. So there is something in this Bir Halacha that you have to figure out. But the Vaila, Tachlis, we have a little bit what to be saying on this minig oilam. There's a minig to be saying on a kapana by an oven. There's a makom to be makel. And if somebody would ask me, is there a makom to be machmir? Yes, there's a makom to be machmir. Okay, there's a makom to be makel, there's a makom to be machmir, and there's a makom for both. Okay, we'll leave it like that entire. That's number one. Number two is like this. Now we get to it's a little bit more exciting. I mean, nothing's more exciting than that. But now we get to something quite lebedik, right? Like this. Maybe. No, okay. The only thing I'm thinking is that okay, no, so far good. Now, another nekuda, very, 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 very important, is again, my contract at this point doesn't require me to talk about this, but I see about 3 or 4 Yugalai who asked me this question, and I see that I was chatted over here also this question many times. I keep talking about the crock pot, and that the crock pot needs a blech, right? So someone asked me, no, you just put in the tuna can. That's what I was asked. Yesterday I was talking about silver balls and tuna. So let me just explain to you what's going on. I'm going to come back to it, but let me just explain to you what's going on here. Everybody said, first of all, when you put a tuna can in a crock pot, make sure that it doesn't have tuna in it. Tuna does not react well being sat on by hot chocolate. It's not just there were people that did not know this, and the tuna is not here to talk about it. So let's leave it. Okay, what exactly is this tuna can? I just heard somebody say, "Oh, that explains the smell." But what would be halacha ma'aser b'sher? What would be if it happened? Would we be allowed to eat the challah? Well, would we be allowed to eat the challah? Yeah, because the tuna is going to. I mean, the truth is no, because it's probably going to explode the pot anyway. But the tuna is going to go. The blias are going to go through the actual challah. No, it goes through the pot, which we spoke about. That, but the evet, it's okay. Once it has to go derech, the thing was like one of the first days that we were back together again. So what do? You scoop out the tuna before Shabbos. You empty out the can, probably wash it for the smell, and then you put it in there. Why are you putting a tuna can in the challah? Can you imagine explaining this to a guy? The guy, I can understand everything. Persmila, there's that shchita. I can stay out. I put straight in a cup. A tuna can inside the challah. What's it does? Tell me what this is. And you guys don't even eat tuna with challah. What is this? Right? So you tell him of Shleim Zalman. And this is not our sugya, but I'm just going to tell you, this has nothing to do, this doesn't help you in the slightest. Shlomo Zalman had a chumrah, when it came to a cholent pot, a crock pot, he was worried about hatmana. Hatmana means if you take a towel and wrap a towel around the cholent pot, just you drape a towel over the top of the cholent pot, that according to everybody is a problem with hatmana. And that's a problem. You're not allowed to do that on Erev Shabbos even. Erev Shabbos, because it shows you're interested in eat. We're going to learn this. It's a sugya innovation in Zion. You're not allowed to do that. That's for sure. Also. I should say for sure. But that's how we pass it. That's also right. So what was Rosh Hashanah Zalman's extra thing? So Rosh Hashanah Zalman said, well, I hold even a crack pot without the covering on top. I hold even she's a problem vatmana. Why? Because Raif of her is mutman. So that's it. The whole upstairs is uncovered. I got a whole sunroof over there. I got a convertible over there. And so the sun comes in, the air comes in over there. So what's the problem? So Shlomo said, what are you doing to me? That the whole thing is hot all around and it's three sides hot and this side, that side, and the bottom and everything. That's atmana. So what does Shlomo Zalman say to do? So you got to take it, lift her up a little bit, got to lift it and make sure now it's lifted up a little bit and the top is open. So now it's not atmana. How are you going to lift it up? You can't take a penny and put it in there because that's not going to. So Shlomo Zalman said you take a tuna can. Okay, I don't know if Shlomo Zalman said it or whatever, but you take a tuna can, you put the safat al-charayim, and mamela, it's now sticking out. Does that have anything to do with our sugya? Nothing. Zero. Nada. Zilch. Now we have a new problem. Now we have a problem. There's coals all around your challah pot, on the side, on the floor, on this, right? And how much of your coals and your fire has been covered? Only the size of a tuna can. That's how much coals have been covered. The size of a tuna can. Nothing else has been covered over here. Okay, I got coils, right, all around my walls. I got coils on the floor. You have to cover, when you want to cover a fire, is it enough to cover this part of the fire and not that part of the fire? It could be you don't have to have such a strong covering, the Mishnah Berurah says. But you have to have, it has to be covered. The fire has to be covered. So you can't have a situation of where the coil over there is not covered, there's not covered, and all that's covered. So if you fill up the whole thing with tuna can, place looks like a place, it looks like a sushi, meal. But over here, you put one tuna can in there, and she's sticking out. And what's going to happen? What did you help me? All you helped me was with what? With atmana. Okay. So what do you do? And Grata, Kallus, we'll see. Devaila, I don't know. I'm going to learn this thing again. Things can change. The whole atmana thing is not such a big thing by me. No, we'll see. It's not a big chumrah, the whole atmana thing. Okay. So what are you going to do? Why what? It's nothing to do with Hadas. You know what it's like? It's like if you have a fire and you take the challah pot and you lift it up a little higher than the fire. You put it on strings, a little bit higher than the fire. The fire is over here and you lift it up. So this is the biggest site. What he's asking is very important, Rabbi Platzker, and I want to explain this. You must do something to the fire. Your Hezek Hadas has to be in the fire. Learn very well the Bir Halacha, the first Bir Halacha. I'm going to talk about her tomorrow. It doesn't look like it'll happen today. And it's very related to what I just said. You must do something to the fire in order to show you out. Why Chazal chose it there, right? I'll have you arrested. You know I don't care about that, right? You know already. But you must make sure you do something to the fire. So Rabbi Platzker says, what do you mean? I definitely showed I'm not as interested, right? Because I lifted it off. So the answer is very nice, but you didn't do something to the fire. He's going to say, yeah, but he did something to partial of the fire. Not enough. You have to do something to the whole fire. That's Pashup Shad. No, nobody argues on this, Rabbi said. It's not like, it's just it's a mistake in the application. The Rosh Hashanah was not talking about it. Now, so the other one's going to ask me another question, because that's what I was asked yesterday. So somebody said to me, so how do you make a blech and so you just take silver foil and you put it on the floor. I told him, what about the coals on the side? So fine, so you just take silver foil and you put it around. So now I'm going to tell you a big side of life. One of the biggest sides of life. Okay? I'm going to tell you a biggest side. I'm going to tell you the side of a crock pot. Okay? What's the side of a crock pot? They probably have one over here. It's a yeshiva. No, they probably have one like on the back over there. You know what I mean? What? You have like 3 or 4? Anybody brave enough to touch it? But they haven't been touched in like months, right? No, I don't mean it's like corona. I mean it's like what other diseases these crock pots can have. Who knows? Right? Let's see. I'm going to tell you biggest side now of a crock pot. Right? So you say, you breaking? Bring her in. Don't be scared. They have crock pots where you guys are from? Rabbi Danziger, they have a crock pot over there where you are? No? They have such a thing? They seem to have a lot of hair over there, but I don't know if they have crock pots. No, I can't say the word. You gotta have a name for this. No, but the base. Us? The who? The heating element. Yes, thank you. Can I please have the heating element? Get over here. Get over here. You're not gonna believe what this thing. Come over here. Come here, show the camera. They gotta see this. Oh, no, come over there. This thing has antibodies. Look inside. Why is that you have to use alcohol just to come near this thing? There's lots of tuna on it. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. To be a pacher again, huh? What, to be a pacher again? That's like a schmuck. Oh my goodness. Okay. So Pesach, it's clean for Pesach. I don't even know what I'm trying to look at over here. I lost my. So they have some blech. Oh my goodness. So that silver foil inside there, that silver foil in there, that was the blech. And this yeshiva, well, we're nameless, but it seems they were never yotzei the blech. They're never yotzei the blech. Why? Because they don't have silver foil around the side. Now, if you look closely, it could be the silver foil melted into the wall over here, and there's a part of the, I don't know. Anyways, look at her. Come here. It's kind of hard, this one. This over here, right? This over here. Get me my camera, Rabbi Platsky. Just do the camera because I can't do both at once. Oh my goodness. All right, this over here is like this. If you touch this thing, I think it prevents corona for the rest of your life. I mean, so maybe you should, So you put this thing over here like this, right? And it goes all the way down. So now I'm going to tell you the secret of the crock pot. Look over here. You see? You're focused in? Was that the good? I know what he's saying. Oh, great. Now my water's not flakes, but it's evil. You see over here, it's mamish flush. Now this is with a metal pan inside. With a metal pan. There's a metal pan. I'm afraid to touch it, but no, I'll take one for the boys. Yeah. It's impossible. The other one is worse. The other one. No. It goes. It's so crushed down that it is like a piece of silver foil now. So basically, there's silver foil there. Right now, basically, the way they make the pot and the heating element is they do it so flush. They do it flush. So now, and that's why Rosh Hashanah is bothered by Atman. I said Atman is not such a big deal or whatever. Now, basically, what happens if I go and I take silver foil and I put it on the lining in the inside and I put it on the bottom? Now, it's not going to lift the pot out at all because they give you a little room. First of all, do you know why they give you a little, right? You know why they give you a little room? I think it's going to ruin my alcohol. You know why they give you a little room, Rabbi Isai? Right? You know why? Get it off of this thing. All right. You know why they give you a little bit of room? I'll tell you why they give you a little bit of room. The reason why they give you a little bit of room is because they don't want it to be so hot. That's why they give you a little bit of room. In other words, the way it works is, as you see, it goes in a little bit. It's not straight. It's not straight. You see how it goes in a little bit? Show them. Point, Rabbi Platzker. Well, it goes in like this a little bit. Mashu, right? Some of them more than others. This one you see is a little bit less. It's greater. The ones we have are probably a little bit more. This one, we don't know what happened over here. But so there's a little bit of a mashu air, and then it goes flush against the base. Okay? Now, let's explain what's going on here. Why is it that they don't make it flush? Because they don't want it to be as hot. Let's say right now inside it's 300 degrees. They don't want it to be 320. Okay? Well, so what is air? Air is an insulator, right? That's what air does. Air makes it that it's gonna. I don't want to scare you with words, but that'll make you think I actually know, physics and stuff. But air makes it colder. Okay? Air inside. What does metal do? What would silver foil? Silver foil is a conductor. What's a conductor? It conducts the heat. What would happen if I would take silver foil and I would put her inside and I would line the floor with silver foil? So you know what happened? What happened is it would get hotter in there. Would it get colder in there? If you take a little piece of silver foil, it would get hotter in there. And just in case, because I spoke about this the last time we did over here, and somebody gave a whole shiur against what I just said, even though it's the Matthias, but somebody gave a whole shiur. So Maisa, we had in the Kallus in those days, we had murder geeks in those days. Today we don't have as much, and there was one, and he did tests and everything, and mamish with physics, and it's 100%. It's 100% that it's hotter. It's pashut like that in Smart. I don't know if you have to prove it. I mean, you also don't have to prove that the Rebbe Shalom made the world. It's pashut, right? But it's hotter if you put in a piece of metal. It's going to conduct the heat. It's not going to make it colder. Okay. Now, but why is it like that? Well, Mashenkin a blech, 1 second. A regular blech doesn't work like that. The fire goes, spreads around the blech, and it gets from the air, and therefore it's much less hot than obviously it's much less hot. It conducts the heat all the way over there, right? So therefore it's going to be much less cold colder. It's going to be colder, than a fire. Now, then I don't know if I even said this. This could be fresh off the press. Then, when the tests were done, it seems to be that parchment paper is different. I'm afraid to say this because it's so scary to me to tell a group of people to take paper and put it inside crackpots. My American brain does not allow me. My Western civilized mind does not allow me to do things like this. But there's always that one guy who's going to say, yeah, for sure, no problem. Come on, who wants to be the guy? No, where is he? Where is he? Nobody? Well, no way. Flatfish, no way. No. Would you do this? Come on, share. You would do it? Never in a million years. What? But apparently parchment paper works. Apparently, I'm not taking responsibility. And apparently it cools it down. I have no explanation of this. I guess because it sticks out or something, or I don't know what. I have no way of explaining this. The paper makes it colder. I'm not going to try to explain this. But so that doesn't get, you mean it blocks it? That makes sense. That makes sense. It makes sense. We're saying that makes sense. Right? And it's Hasidish. Right? No, I'm saying that makes sense. No? I'm asking? Okay. Zwei Eidem. Sorry. Is Rabbi saying he says over here, Rabbi Fiskus, he tells me that he knows I'm about to make fun of him, but he took one for the boys. He says the parchment paper can only handle up to 450 degrees. Right? That's right. Your wife knows you're a geek? She knows that also? She does. Okay. How much is a crack pot? Anybody know? Probably when it's on low, it's not 450 degrees, right? I don't think so, right? No, it's less, much less. Yeah. DJ says it's less. And you know what I think about DJ. Now, is Rabbi say, please laugh with your masks on. Is Rabbi say, if you want to fablech your thing, you want to fablech your crack pot, so you got to do one of two things. I'll tell you what I do in order. Now, why do I need to blech my crack pot? Because she's a mitzvamik v'yafeloi. She's the biggest mitzvamik v'yafeloi in the world, even if your cholent is fully cooked. Okay, and also I might want to do chazara, and even if I don't want to do chazara, I might want to put the chveis water because it might burn out. So you sometimes need a blech on your crock pot. So how am I going to get a blech on my crock pot? I have to do something, which is going to mitzanein. You have to make cold. If you're not making cold the heat source, then you're not being mesiach das. You're showing me you are interested in a hot fire. So you're showing me, you can't say, I put a piece of silver foil. I said this in a shiur, and there was somebody in the shiur after the shiur clearly didn't understand the shiur. Right? I said it, but it was, and the person came to me after the shiur and said, I don't understand. What's the real difference? You have a blech, and then you see the blech, and that reminds you that, that reminds you not to do anything with the knobs and whatever. So if you have a piece of silver foil, it also reminds you. And Elamai, because you worry the knobs, you take the silver foil and you put it over the knob. Like a Pasha B'chlal doesn't understand the lungs. I wanted to tell him, you can't use the blech either, tough guy. I wanted to call him tough guy. Okay? You can't use the blech either, tough guy. You can't use the blech either because you don't know how blech works. You think a blech is a hacker. A blech is not a hacker. A blech is esach hadas. So there's no esach hadas unless what? Unless you're making the fire colder. And then you're showing me you're not interested. That's what Chazal said. To show me you're not interested in the cooking process. How? By making the fire colder. They could have said, take off the chef hat, take off the mask. What did they say instead? They said, make the fire colder. So if you're not making the fire colder, then you didn't show me that you're mesiach das in the way the Chazal said. So if it's over here, when I put parchment paper, I'm making the fire colder, but cows is scared. Okay. Selamai, when I put metal, silver foil, apparently it doesn't make it colder. So what do? If you take a Shleim Zalman and you put it together, you put a tuna can in there. I don't take a tuna can. I take an upside down beckel, and you break, you just like let it sit there, right? And then it does keep it out a little bit. And we'll see one day why I'm not worried about that Tamana thing. Okay, it could change. You never know. But then it lifts it up a mashu. It lifts it up a pan. I'm sorry. You take it upside down, right? Sir, chatpami, right? And you put them in there, and then you just crush it down. And I put silver foil on the walls. Now, how did that help me? Because now the air gets in. Once the air gets in, my silver foil is going to make it colder in there. My silver foil is going to be moil now because now it has where to go. Now the air circulates and now it's where to go. The reason before it didn't was because it was all stooped in there. You put pieces of metal, silver foil in there, and all that it did was it got hotter and hotter and hotter. Okay. Now I once heard a shiur. What's that? When with bull, the bulls is okay also. Yeah, it doesn't have. But darf nicht umkommen zu Bedatz tuna mit Dogin. Yeah, was? The bulls get euch. Yeah. Yeah. It's a balbatishkeit, just to make sure you have it, that it sticks out. If you want to put in there a couple of pennies also and it lifts it up, I don't mean like one penny. I mean, if you put a couple, I don't know if these things are going to burn down the house, but I take no responsibility for anything. I take zero responsibility, okay? Balkabanim, and what do you say? Interesting. Yeah, and I don't want to sound like overzealous, but I don't think you have to be chayshish. Why? Because by ketuma also, it says you could do a ketuma kolder. You're telling me there's not one red dot that you didn't get? Even though I made it sound like you have to get every fire. We'll have to go into that shiloh when we get to ketuma kolder. That's a good shiloh. You know I appreciate that shiloh, but let's get there with ketuma kolder. And I just answered you, maybe that's the answer. Now,
why is the metal of the liner of the heating coil not considered good enough?
Dude, he's in so much trouble. He mamish took one for the boys right now. He just took one for the boys. He says, wait a minute. Oh, is he in trouble? Oh, how much I worry about you now. Right? He says, wait a minute. First, I'm not giving it to a blech bichlal. I have a blech. There's a piece of metal around my coil. He's scared. That's the way you cook also. What's the difference to the bottom and the sides? What's the difference? If that's the normal derech bishul, so then that is the fire. That's the normal derech bishul. If that's the way you cook, so then that's the derech bishul. I'll give you one chance. If you get,
Even though it's covered.
What? You said it again. That's dangerous. Yeah. Does everybody understand? Well, a kupach is a good question. Rabbi Rosenberg, Fishy is asking, why is it? You guys remember Fishy used to be in the kaila. Here's tuna fish. He gets all excited, right? He wants to know why is a crack pot not a kupach? Now you guys are learning the sugya, and that should mean a lot to you. I'm not up to kupach yet, and when I get to kupach, I'm going to imply to try and answer this question. But the picture in the back of the Mishnah Berurah of what a kupach is, I don't have these Mishnah Berurahs. Let's say this one, in my house I don't have it, but maybe it's in this one. Let's see. In the back they have picture lach, a build. Yeah, no, this one not. Let me see if you guys have. Not the Dershu ones. It's the old Mishnah Berurahs, that the red ones. And in the back there's a picture of a kupach, and it looks exactly like a crock pot. That's what they made. They made a picture of because what's a kupach? It's enough to have just one pot, and then kupach has all of its rules. It's a different set of rules. It's not exactly like kira, so it's going to be not so posh. It says Fishy.
Why is silver foil not going to be the same problem as it already has to DJ that?
Yeah. Yeah. So that we have to get to. I'll ask it differently than you. I don't mean I'll ask it better than you, but I'll ask it differently than you. Maybe it's even better. Rabbi Blinder asks, he's asking me like this. Rabbi Blinder says, well, what if you always keep silver foil and that's the normal way of cooking and that's right? Wait. Wait. So I'll make it even worse. I'll make Rabbi Blinder's question 10 times worse. What if you're just one of those guys that just leaves the silver foil in from week to week and just turns on the crock pot and cooks like that? It's the kasha, right? No, because that's what he meant. That's what Rabbi Blinder meant, right? What? I think that's a big problem. What? You gotta take it out. Well, this Friday night you're gonna take it out. This Friday night you're taking it out. This Friday night you're taking it out. No, it doesn't have to be a new one. There you are again, being difficult. It doesn't have to be a new one. It can be that one. You have to take it out. What? He's saying no one does this. What? No, the black is that you put the black on. Yeah, no. Yeah, you see, you shape it. What do you think this is? You're making a yarmulke? What are you? You hear what they're yelling about, Rabbi Say? They're yelling over here that if I keep the silver foil and the piece of metal inside the crock pot, why am I looking down? I should look at that. When they put the piece of metal in and the silver foil in, so then if they just leave it there, that's how they cook. If that's how they cook, it's not.
Together with the silver balls.
What? You're doing something that developed. So I'll ask their question a little bit more evil. Rabbi Sher says, wait. Rabbi Sher says, nah, it doesn't matter. So you always cook not normal when you cook for Shabbos, right? That's what Rabbi Sher is saying. So that's, wait. But Rabbi say, who's the only people in the world that buy this crock pot? You know, it's like we have the roiv on it, you know. We're the Jews, we're the people that buy these things, right? We have enough of a tzibur that buys it, that cooks like that this is the way you cook with a crock pot. So Rabbi Sher says that you do that because you want to show you're not going to cook in the regular way of the usage of a crock pot. And that's probably a limit schus for Rabbi Yudaikin, right? But I don't know if you want to do it this week. Well, what should you do? You put it in, turn it on, and take it out. And Fishy seems to have knowledge here of Goyim. He says that Goyim use crock pots. Goyim use crock pots. Okay. Yeah. But maybe the Chafetz Chaim talks about that. What's the time on Gerim? It says that the Gerim have a hard time, right? So the Chafetz Chaim says, what's the time on Gerim? They have a hard time. So Chafetz Chaim says, he brings up from Rishonim, I think, that because they should have been Megayer. In fact, the Chafetz Chaim, that's a taina. That's a taina that the guy should have been Megayer. But there's a taina on every guy in the world that he should have been Megayer. Forget every guy that doesn't Megayer, there's going to be a taina that why weren't you Megayer? It's like interesting to say. He was born a guy, right? Let him be a Chassidim himself. So the Chafetz Chaim says, no, because obviously you're a good guy. Chafetz Chaim writes it. He says, obviously you're a good guy because you actually chapped and you converted, right? So B'tzai, what took you so long? The Chafetz Chaim writes, right? What took you so long, right? Why did I tell you that? He probably wondered. No, because I'm saying if this guy uses a crack pot, so maybe it's a raya that he should have been a Jew. Right? Where the Chafetz Chaim talk? What? Yeah, I know that the guy use these things. They just told me. But one second. What was I just answering? So he's asking me what to do. So what you do is like this. Here, Blatzker, show them how I'm doing. You have to go like this. You have to put it in. You put her in, right? You put it in like this. You turn it on. You got the apron on. You have a chef hat on. You have everything on like this, right? Then commentary of Shabbos. You go, no, never take off the mat. You take off your apron. You take off your chef hat. Then you take out, right? And you put inside the lining of the clay starting, right? You put in the lining, and then you put it back in. Huh? He started crying. You guys don't see it. He started crying. But every week, he says, every week. Who else is going to do it if not me? You don't have to shape. You just have to do this. It's saying it can't be. Levi, you hear the screaming? It's saying, how can it be every single week you shape the silver foil? So wait. I want to tell you, I'm going to admit something. This is such a bad day. I'm going to admit something, and I'll explain to you a limit schus on the Rebbe. I don't take out the silver foil. Am I turning red? I didn't know I could even blush. I didn't know I could. Am I turning red? I don't take out the silver foil. I don't because Rabbi Kleiner's right. It's very hard to shape the silver foil every single time. But what I take out and Rabbi Engelstein is saying, but it's so hot, right? And I got in IKEA where it has like finger lock and you can put it in and I take out just the balls. Right? And then because my blech at this point is worthless. And Kallus actually is minding that. That the blech right now is worthless anyways, because taka right now, this matzim. So I take out the balls. And the balls I put in, and that makes it that you made my blech work. Is that so hard to take out 2 silver balls? Nay, because the balls are enabling my blech to work. The balls are making it that my blech works. I knew I was going to have a hard time with this. I knew that might give me a hard time with this. Yeah, no, but the balls are making it that my silver foil is now going to cool down the metal. You love it? Okay? Touchdown. No? No? What do you say about Greenhouse? What was that? That was a field goal? Or that was a field goal? No? So, we didn't learn a word today. 1 second. No one's allowed to talk. Stop it. You know what? You see what happens. I need you guys to come back there. It's Israel. There's a thing called anarchy over here. Anarchy. Now, basically, don't get confused. I mean, you know, if somebody didn't make a blech in his crack pot, it's not, you know, it's not the worst affair. Why? Because he can't do chazara. I'm saying if you know somebody all these years and he had silver foil around, right, and he feels terrible now and whatever, he feels like he was over on a fair. So you tell him, listen, if you didn't do chazara, so no, that was the minhag Ashkenaz. That's the minhag Ashkenaz that you have, that the Ramah holds that you don't have to chew. Because most people put in the crack, the challah, most people put it in, it's at least a third cooked, a half cooked anyways, usually, right? I'm saying most people put it in, I think, right? That's usually how it is. But Rabbi said, if you're going to do chazara, that's a federal offense. That's mamish, that's a veira gedola. Maybe you're told this usher, Rabbi Zinger, that person with the tefillin mirror, yeah? Maybe it's told this even usher. What's Mason? Okay, so right now it's boiling hot. Right now it's boiling hot because the silver foil made it hotter. So now, no, because that's what we said before. You're in so much trouble. Aren't you nervous? Right? Why aren't you scared? It's a fancy mask. These guys with the fancy mask. Because you must do to the fire. That's what we explained. Your hesach hadas has to do with sinun to the fire. What? What do you mean? Which case? You need to put in the silver balls. Right. The silver balls are enabling the silver foil to be cooling down the fire source. That's what they're doing. Yeah. I don't know. Mom didn't learn anything today. I can't believe it. But one more thing. But nobody move. 1 second. Danny, do I have 1 minute? Where's Danny? He's not even here. So I guess I have a minute. Right. Rabbi say, nobody move. Elamai, a person's going to say, he's going to say like, no, I'll tell you because this was Maisa Shahaya. That's why I just want to tell you one last thing and then I'll let you go. Right? Where's Danny? I have a minute or I don't have a minute? Right? Okay, I guess I have a minute, no? Yeah. Everybody say, one last thing. I once gave a shiur about this. It was the same shiur. It's like, people love this type of topic, you know? If you ever give a shiur, give on this. And somebody said to me afterward, he couldn't believe it, that he was always at a crock pot in, a cholent, right? And he's like, he doesn't do chazara on cholents, you know what I mean? And his cholent doesn't burn, you know? There's some people, their feet don't smell, the cholent don't burn. I mean, that's right? That's how it goes, right? His cholent don't burn, right? So he told me, he doesn't ever do chazara, and he doesn't take cholent on a Friday night. He didn't even know that they're allowed to, you know? So it's like illegal, you know? It's like a vera or whatever, right? It's like Zwisen Makdimen or something. So he said, but he had his cholent in a crack pot every single Friday night for the last 20 years. He said it was mostly cooked and whatever, but you're telling me that for 20 years I did something that the Mishabura would say I'm not a lichatchila dikayid. I'm not a bad person. That means when I'm going to go to Shemayim, this is what he was worried about. He's going to go to Shemayim and the Mishabura is going to say, all your cholent was Avera. All your cholent was not lichatchila. Right? You imagine that? No, Yaakov, you imagine such a thing? He's going to come to Shemayim after 20 years. 20 years, they're going to tell him. He was so distraught. The guy told me this. He was so distraught. The guy at the time of the shiur, I told him, okay, I've said it. It's a minhag Ashkenaz. I didn't, it was after a shiur, and I was all like, Fablunja took me, I was like, okay. So afterward, I felt bad that I didn't tell him. I felt bad. I didn't tell him that you don't have to do tshuva on those 20 years. Why? Because there's a shita that the Bir Halacha brings at the end of the Sif, a shita like this. We know that there's a guy, I'm going to go into this more. I just want to, I'm afraid that somebody's listening and he's going to, I just felt guilty. He's like, for 20 years. There's a shita that the Bir Halacha brings. You all know there's a heter of kidra chaisa. Kidra chaisa means if something is raw, you don't have to worry he's going to stoke. He's not going to stoke the fire. If he has raw food, he's not going to stoke. Why? Totally raw, right? Because the guy says to himself, if I stoke, it's not going to help. For tonight, it's not going to help. Right? For tonight, it's not going to help. And by tomorrow, when I need it, it's going to be fully cooked anyways. So that's already a heter called kidra chaisa. Okay, that's a heter. Mitzvah Hashem, we're going to learn about that heter. Okay. But says the Bir Halacha, I think he brings in Or Zarua, that some wanted to say, so no, look at the lumdus of that heter. What's the lumdus of that heter? The lumdus of that heter is that if the guy can make a mamanashach, then it's not a problem. So what's the mamanashach? So the Bir Halacha, he'll make him a manashach. It's not raw. But let's say you have the cholent and it's for tomorrow, and you don't plan on having it tonight. Okay? This doesn't work for a lot of us, right? There are a lot of us, we're planning on having more cholent tonight than tomorrow, whatever. So the Bir Halacha, there's an order that says mamanashach. If it's for tomorrow, even if it's cooked already, right? But you can be makel according to everyone. Says why? Because manashach, if it's going to get, if what's it called? If I'm going to stoke for tonight, I don't plan on eating it for tonight. Right? Elamai by tomorrow it's going to be with stomach v'yavalai. I don't need to do it. So I have the Mamana. Now, others argue, and they say, because he might change his mind, and especially today, that people eat chocolate at night, or whatever. So Biur Halacha doesn't like this heter. He doesn't like the heter, and he doesn't let you be saimach on it. Okay, maybe Shasatchak or whatever. But as a fight, it's already in Orzaru and Shasatchak. Plus, the minig is anyways, like the Ramah says, to be Mekel once she reached the level of Chananya. Right? Maybe you could add now the Miskaris of Shulchan Svara that, once it was on at a certain standard, we're not afraid that you're going to change your mind. And therefore, this Yid doesn't have to feel that for 20 years, he was over on the Mishabura, that when he goes to Shemayim, the Mishabura is going to yell at him and say, all your cholent was not lechatchil. Okay? That tomorrow we'll start the Shiur. I don't know what happened today. All right, but I say, very important message. Please, please, I beg of you. I see a God, it's very neat over here, so I thank you for that. I see that you're taking away the cups and all the zachem, Baruch Hashem. That's a good zach, and you should continue. Because nobody wants to touch anybody else's cup. Nobody wants to look at the crack body. Also, they gave us shelves to put the Gemaras, and then the guys on the computer, you better listen. Make sure you put your Gemaras on the shelf. You'll see there's all Gemaras on that shelf, and the Shulchan Aruch, there's a Shulchan Aruch shelf. So that's what you do, and then everything is neat and clean, and cleanliness is next to godliness. What? I think they want you to keep it over there. I don't know. Look at that. Oh, the Rashiv said you can put it elsewhere. Okay, fine. I'm saying, but just make it in a neat typhon. That's the ikar. To make it neat, and that's it says Nikias is in Nikias. It doesn't mean that Nikias, but it's also probably that the Nikias of cleanliness is mashpia on the Nikias of of the neshama. The Alter Nikel.